Hey there guys, Artistic Nick here, thanks for the click. In today's drawing step-by-step tutorial, I'm going to be drawing Dave the Minion. Thanks so much for tuning in today guys. I thought I'd go with another step-by-step tutorial. I've really been enjoying doing these step-by-step tutorials recently. I had a few requests that came in over on the Instagram channel a couple of weeks ago, and one of them that stuck out was drawing a minion, specifically Dave the Minion. And this really sort of resonated with me because if I look back at the last couple of years of me drawing, what really started it all out was drawing cartoon characters for my daughters. And Minions was always one of those characters that popped up, so quite early on I did learn how to draw a relatively accurate minion. When I look back at them now, obviously there's mistakes there, but I thought I'd give this one a go and just see actually how much I'd improved. So to start with, when we're drawing a minion, we're going for a sort of, I'm not sure if you understand what they are, but we have something in England called Tic Tacs. They're sort of a breath freshener sweet, a minty sweet, and they're sort of a pill shape. So we're going to go for sort of a Tic Tac shape or a pill shape, maybe a paracetamol. And it's going to be slightly curved over towards the left hand side, and this is obviously just going to be the general shape of our minion. Once we've got our general shape, we're just going to plot a center line which is sort of going to match the curve of the minion. So we're going to curve it from the left sort of down through the center and then out towards the bottom. We're just going to put in a guideline for the mouth, which sort of sits just above halfway up. And we're going to plot in some eyes. So the one characteristic with the minions is the eyes. Some of the characters have only one eye, some of them have two, but they all have these sort of silver goggles on them. So we're just going to plot out some rough circles. And again, don't worry if they're not absolutely perfect circles. If you did want to make them spot on, you could use something to draw around. So maybe a coin, maybe a 10p coin would be the right sort of size. You could get the bottom of a bottle, something like that. So if you were looking for perfect circles, then go for that. But like I say, it's not absolutely essential that you do get perfect circles, particularly in this planning out stage. And what I would also suggest is try practicing drawing circles and making them as accurate as you can. Once we've got the general shape of the mouth and the eyes in, we're going to go for some hands and some arms. So in this picture, the minion's holding his left arm, but it's his right as we're looking at him, up towards the sky, and his sort of hand is pointing up towards the sky. So we're just going to make some general shapes. So we've got a line coming straight up from just around the mouth, and then we're going to start coming in and trying to get something that resembles the feet and the very short stubby legs. So we're looking for some oval shapes, and we're trying to get them quite central so that the centre mark of the jeans or the trousers that this minion is wearing is lining up with that centre mark. Next we're going to draw the minion's right arm, but it's on the left hand side as we're looking at this, and this is sort of bent and leaning against his hip. We're then going to start adding a little bit more detail to the eyes. So like I mentioned earlier, these minions have these sort of silver goggles. So we're going to draw another circle within the circle that we've already got. And we're going to try and keep the distance quite similar from the outside circle all the way around. If you get this right, it just means that the glasses look like they're manufactured or machined rather than natural. So if we're looking at something in nature, you'll very rarely see such precision, but when we're looking at something that's been made, so if we were drawing a car or an aeroplane for example, we do want to try and keep parallel lines absolutely parallel just to give that look. And it's nice sometimes to have the contrast between something natural, like let's say a tree trunk or branches of a tree, compared to something like sunglasses or glasses, and it just gives you that difference in contrast and just adds a little bit more realism. Obviously we're not going for realism with this, we're going for a minion, a cartoon style minion, so we're trying to be accurate, but we're not absolutely having to be perfect and spot on with everything. I've been having loads of fun with these step-by-step tutorials. They do take a little bit longer to make the video, and I understand the videos are slightly longer, but I have had quite a few requests for this because some of the time-lapse videos that I've recently been making doesn't really give you an indication as to how long and exactly how we're doing certain things. So I am enjoying doing these step-by-step tutorials. If there's something else that you'd like me to cover, maybe it's an anime character, maybe it's another Minion, maybe it's another Disney character, it can be absolutely anything, then don't forget, just fire me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this video, give me a thumbs up. Why not subscribe to the channel? I am doing weekly videos at the moment. I'm doing everything from, like I say, anime and Copic marker work, all the way through to realistic graphite drawings. I've even started experimenting with some charcoal work. So if there's a tutorial you'd like me to cover, maybe you'd like to learn how to draw something specific, or there's a certain character from a new movie or something like that, then like I say, don't forget, get hold of me down below in the comments. You can also get hold of me on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. The links to all of my social media platforms are down below in the descriptions, so it'd be really nice to hear from you in there. I'm having so much fun with the channel at the moment. I've already broken 2,000 subscribers, so that's a real massive milestone for me. Earlier on in the year I was sitting at around 1,400 subscribers, and I thought it'd be really nice to break 2,000 by the end of the year, and I've already done that. So we're only in August at the moment, so I'm looking maybe to be breaking 2,500 to 3,000 by the end of this year, so that's fantastic. So thank you so much guys for all of your likes, comments, shares, anything that you've done to promote the channel. Maybe you've liked a Facebook post or whatever, then thank you so much for that. It does mean an awful lot to me. I hope you're still enjoying the videos and the content, but if you've got any ideas for future videos, like I say, let me know down in the comments below, or get hold of me on the social media platforms. Now in these planning stages, what I really would recommend is using a very light pencil. For this video, I'm actually using an HB pencil for this planning stage, which is probably slightly darker than I would normally use, but just for the video, just so you guys can see it and it shows up on the camera, I am using a HB pencil, and I'm probably pressing slightly harder than I normally would do. And the reason why it's so important to go very light is because if you do need to make any corrections, which you will do, you're never going to draw something straight away and it's going to be absolutely perfect. But if you've gone very light, then it makes it much easier for you to make those corrections, and you're not going to see them in the finished drawing. Now, in this Minions drawing, I do go over it with ink towards the end, but some of you might want to have left it in pencil. You might want to shade it, you may want to colour it with markers or coloured pencils. If you're using something like a coloured pencil, the pencil does actually come through, so your guidelines will come through if you've pressed too hard and if you've used something like a 2B or a 4B pencil. So what I would really suggest is using a 2H or a 4H pencil. If you are going to go with an HB pencil, then make sure you are pressing very lightly and you're not going to damage the tooth of the paper. So we're actually getting to my most favourite part of any drawing now. I'm starting to refine some of the shapes, and I'm starting to add some of the finer details. And for this I am going to start pressing slightly harder, and I'm just going to start adding, like I say, some of the finer details. So we're working on the teeth now, and we're just paying particular attention if you're using a reference, making sure that you've got the same number of teeth in. I've seen plenty of drawings before where something's looked off and then you count the amount of teeth and somebody's added one too many teeth, or they've not added enough teeth. So making sure that details like that are correct only takes a second to count whether there's 5 teeth on show or 8 teeth on show. Then I'm coming in for some more of the details around the clothing area. So as you're probably all aware, the Minions wear these type of denim dungarees. So one thing that I really like to add is that I like to add the stitching. So you'll see me adding some of the stitching details around the straps of the dungarees and coming around the top and just sort of following the edge of the dungarees around. And it's these small details that really make it pop. You'll also see small details on the glasses, maybe there's some rivets or there's some screws and nuts and bolts and things like that. And don't neglect these small details. It might seem insignificant when you're starting to draw them, but the overall composition of the drawing with the finer details will make it look much more realistic, or much more like the character that we're trying to draw. And like I say, this is my favourite part of the drawing, whether it's a Copic marker, anime drawing, or I'm drawing something realistic with the graphite. It's these finer details and these last touches, like I said, are my favourite part, but also that really make or break the drawing. So as I'm sure you can see now, that this is starting to look quite closely like one of the Minions. I went for Dave I'll probably draw Bob at some stage as well. Big difference is the amount of eyes. So I think Bob's got one eye sort of central in the head, whereas Dave and Kevin I think have both got two eyes. I may be wrong on that. It's a long time since I saw the Minions films. They are fantastic. If you've not watched them, go and watch them now. I would really recommend that. We're almost towards the end of my pencil work now, so you will see me now inking this in, and I'm actually going to time lapse that just because I think you've got the gist of what we're doing now. So going back to the start, we find some fundamental shapes. We look for a shape that is either circular, rectangular, it might be a triangular shape. We press very lightly with the pencil, and then we build out from there. Once we start adding the finer details, we make sure that we are counting and we're looking at the reference as much as we can, and then we're going finally over with the ink. Now when we're using the ink, make sure that the ink's dried before we go over it with a rubber. I will be rubbing out the pencil and adding any of the finer details, like the details on the iris. Maybe I'm going to add a tongue in there, creases on some of the clothing, and also the stitches. But that's almost done for today, so I just want to thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'm having a blast with it. If you need to get hold of me, like I said, Instagram, Facebook and Twitter is the place to do it. And I'll leave you with my final picture of Dave the Minion. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
Hit subscribe, smack the notifications button, follow me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter.